to treat shoulders, you need to treat pec major, pec minor, biceps, upper traps, middle deltoid, and subscap. What Vlad Mayanda didn't talk about was adhesive capsulitis, which means you can't do his protocol. So what happens when I go to stretch pec major on that first stroke of Vlad Mayanda's work, lateral rotation would be painful. Did you see his face? He's not okay because there's a hard infill right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to straighten that arm back out, and I'm going to come in here and I'm going to do some counter strain. What feels good, let's go to the picture of the capsule. If you look at the adhesions on the left slide, you'll see the adhesions of the capsule that I'm relaxing. You got to hold that for a minimum of 30 to 90 seconds because that's what the brain needs to allow the adhesions and the emotional guarding and the nociceptor pain within the fascial adhesions to calm down and relax. And then you just gently stretch the capsule to start to release some of those adhesions. So it's a counter strain followed by a scapular traction, a humeral tractioning away from the scapula. Now, if you look at the image on the left-hand circle, I'm going to use the humeral head to release the interosseous adhesions within the capsule, and then I'm going to use the humeral head to stretch the interosseous adhesions, and this is popping all over the place. It's audible. And now what I want him to see is that if he trusts me, that I'm not going to stretch unless it's a soft infill, I want you to know that your arm can fall back a lot further than where it went before. If he trusts me, you can see that with that adhesive capsulitis, because he's trusting me, right? I'm not pulling when there's a hard infill. So what that means is when I go here, if I earn his trust, I can let his arm drop back and I can start to stretch pec major because the adhesion within the capsule is no longer the restriction. You guys with me so far? I've been accused for years of not being able to release advanced stage capsular patterns. I believe that those people are underestimating their potential. Now, Vladimir Yanda said that we need to release pec minor next. But when I release pec minor, he's going to present with a secondary capsular pattern. So when I work from ribs 3, 4, and 5 into the coracoid process and roll the shoulder back to release pec minor, if you can go way forward to pec minor on those slides, that'd be great. The problem is, unlike what we did in this course with someone presenting with long-term advanced stage adhesive capsulitis to the pec minor stretch. A couple more slides forward. Here's a speed bump. The code of ethics that I learned in the 70s said do no harm in treatment. The speed bump is when I go to stretch pec minor, the arm hangs right there with a hard infill. Most manual therapists would try to stretch pec minor anyway. They would push through that hard infill. So now we have a speed bump. How many of you are so slow and so gentle and you assess before you stretch? You need to be. So now we have a speed bump, so go back to the capsular patterns. There's a hard infill. That means the humeral head is still adhesive in and out of the capsule. So I'm going to go back to my counter strain. Speed bumps are easy if you're present with your movements and constantly assessing. And then we're going to stretch that capsule, and then we're going to relax with counter strain, and then we're going to stretch that capsule. And then what we're going to do is we're going to do some interosseous work. And now when I stretch the interosseous membrane, I want you to feel something, sir, that the humeral head is moving free of the scapula. Do you feel that? Mm-hmm. I want him to feel it because his nervous system controls his fascial system. If he feels it, he knows that he now has the ability to let that arm drop back down and stretch his pec minor. Had I not respected that capsular adhesion and I was a protocol junkie instead of being present with each movement and each assessment, you wouldn't get those results. Now what we're going to do, and I'm just going to show you how to use these cushions to do movements from supine to side lying. I'm going to move these out and lay it right here. You're going to roll towards me, sir, with that shoulder up. and this bottom shoulder is going to go between these two cushions. You have to have them go to upper trapezius for me with the slides. You have to have them in a comfortable, neutral position so that no muscles are working to resist me. So you're going to come back here with the camera so we can see the upper trapezius. And what the upper trapezius does, by the way, can you see if you can find that scapular model? Is that underneath here? That humeral head, or is in the bag? Might be in the bag. If you can grab that, you might. What happens when we get into the upper trapezius and the middle deltoid is they're fascially continuous, elevating the humeral head. Now what he's got, I'm going to show you when she gets that model out here. There should be a scapular, rotator cuff model in there, and the humeral head too in there somewhere. Now, if I put this back here, what the upper trapezius middle deltoid does is it sucks the humeral head up, so that's why he's got that scapular, humeral fixation. There are adhesions in the capsule, and Cynthia's going to bring me to do a fresh dissection because she's seen them here locally. There are adhesions of the capsule, and there are adhesions between the capsule and the subacromial bursa and the acromion. We have to address those adhesions. Too many people are failing to release complicated advanced stage adhesive capsular patterns. We have till 6, right? Yeah. And then I'm going to just hook into the upper traps. Do not press on the acromion because underneath is the subacromial bursa. Go lateral to the acromion to get the middle deltoid released. And then if you could bring the camera all the way around to that side. So I'm going through the upper traps and the middle deltoid. Now watch. A lot of meanders said to stretch the subscap, but it's not possible because there's a hard end feel. When you teach AIS classes, you got to talk about end feel. If it's hard or bone on bone like, it's capsular. So what I've just done is I've relaxed the upper traps, middle deltoid. So now what I can do is I can hit the capsule from the front and back, right on the joint capsule with my index finger and my thumb. And if I go lateral to the acromion, those adhesions that are forming between the acromion and the capsule can be released if I counter strain and stretch the capsule down. Whitney Lowe said you must match the technique to the pathology of the condition based on knowledge of pathology and ongoing assessment. I know that the humeral head is sucked up into the acromion, so I have to drop the humeral head down from the acromion, and I just felt it release. Did you feel that humeral head drop down? I just now separated the adhesions that were gluing the humeral head into the acromion, and so now I should be able to stretch his subscap. With 10% of your strength, push into my hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now relax, now rotate your humerus back. And now with 10% of your strength, push into my fingers. 2, 3, 4, 5, and rotate your shoulder back. And now we stretch pec major, pec minor. No harm, no pain, not stirring up pre-existing condition. There's an art and a science. So now what we're going to do is we're going to have him slowly, I'm going to reposition these cushions, and I just need the headrest. Where's the headrest for the body cushions? Right here. So you're going to do a little push-up, and you're going to go prone into these cushions for me. You're going to go face down. Just do a little push-up so I can pull these cushions back together and go right up into the headrest for me. Just scoot all the way up until you're in the headrest for me. Can you put the leg pieces back under there for me? And the arm pieces back in for me? Scoot those cushions down. Now, that was his, I always forget what side I'm working on when I work out. Good. I hate when that happens. Go to triceps. A lot of meanders said that the triceps are weak compared to the biceps. A lot of meanders said that the infraspinatus and teres minor are weak compared to the pecs, that the rhomboids are weak and neurologically inhibited. So what I want to do is relax all the tissue in the back. I believe the reason we have what we call trigger points back here is the fascia is stretched, the nerves are stretched within the fascia. This fascia has nociceptors, which is pain receptors, which causes pain. Nociceptors are what we register pain from. If we relax all this tissue in the back, turning 60, I have to put the lotion in the direction I'm going to take the tissue so I don't forget. There's ways that we look good, right?
Yes.
That's right. And then I'm relaxing infus spinatus and teres minor. Look at body mechanics. It's coming from my core. It's coming from my hip. Go next slide so you can follow my sequence. Thanks. When you're in the course and doing the shoulder work, you're going to see slide by slide. Next slide. Good job. Next slide. They're going to come to the head of the head and shoot the next foot. Now, I was reading on my Facebook page how to eliminate trigger points in the levator scapula and the rhomboids. Because of the position of his upward rotated scapula, there's an eccentric load on the levator scapula, thus a trigger point series in that muscle. Because of the upward rotated scapula and the lengthening of the rhomboids, there's stretching of nerves, thus perceptions of trigger points in the rhomboids. The Facebook page said if you take the scapula, go to the scapula, next slide, and you downward rotate the scapula, that repositions the levator scapula and the trigger points go away. If you downward rotate the scapula, that relaxes the rhomboids and the trigger points go away. Leon Shaitow and Judah Delaney said when you bring muscles back to their normal muscle resting length, trigger points go away. So I don't do trigger point work anymore because I lengthen short muscles, I relax and activate weak muscles, I bring all muscles and joints where they belong, and I don't have to do direct pressure on trigger points. It's a different lens. I'm not speaking about negative about trigger points, they exist, but it's a different lens of therapy. Everybody with me on that? Next slide. And now, when I traction the humeral head down, what am I decompressing? When I take the humeral head away from the acromion, what am I getting decompressing? Subacromial bursa, the supraspinatus muscle. I'm breaking up the adhesions between the humeral head and the supraspinatus. And now when I hit that humeral head, it's completely off that scapula. There's no adherence between the scapula and now everything is relaxed. So now I'm just doing this, and now there's freedom. We've completely released that shoulder. So now what I want him to do is stand up. Go ahead and stand up.
Yeah, right.
He's in La La Land. I know that. You do not drive in this condition.
Without two
Do not
martinis.
drive in this condition. Now let's reassess. You go to the front. We're going to see the wow factor. So now he's going to have good lateral rotation. We can stretch tissue. I want you to just rest your arm on my shoulder for a second. Let it drop. Let it drop. Let it drop. Now I'm going to take that capsule from the top and release that from the scapula. So now do you feel how there's movement? Mm-hmm. Your humeral head can move. Now I can stretch your pec minor, right?
Yep.
And now, watch. With your arm like that, take it all the way to your ear. Because you can.
Wow.
Now, once you can do that, now the therapist can work the lats, right?
Yeah.
Because if you release what's inside the joint, you can work what's around the joint. I'm so tired of hearing people say you can't release adhesive capsulitis. So I'm going to keep doing it while they debate it. I'm cool with that. If they believe they can't do it, I'll go to my church and pray for them and hope that they change their belief system. I'm so done with the challenges of whether we can. Now, neuromuscular education, do the John Travolta move. Seriously, all the way up, okay. Okay. Do that, okay. So next time you see me, how are you going to greet me?
Howdy.
No.
Oh, okay.
No. I'm teaching you the John. We're going to put John Travolta music in. You obviously, you remember those Staying Alive songs, right?
Yes.
So now, do you feel the difference?
Yes. Yeah, there's no.
So when you
No
see those
popcorn.
debates on Facebook that says we can't release advanced stage adhesions, ignore them. Science will eventually catch up to technique, right? So again, move that arm all the way up. You see, look at the change in his energy. Move your arm all the way up.
He looks 10 years younger.
I mean, it does. I mean,
Nicest
what
thing
are
I've
you
heard
going to do
all
when you
year.
study, when you struggle with adhesive capsulitis? For how many years did you have it?
That was been 6 months.
6 months?
Well, at least this
Well,
year.
we've had people that have had that for 30 years and we've
Yeah.
seen it release.
Yeah.
A woman in Australia has been like this for 30 years and she's doing the same thing he was doing last week in Australia. And so that's the kind of things you're going to learn when you come back for the upper body, or we're going to be in July doing the whole body. You can take the upper body portion or the lower body portion, 2.5 days each, July 27th to 31. But that's the results every one of you should be able to achieve with shoulders. Okay? Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Now, one thing.